It's all the news all the time. And today I thought we would talk about Tolkien and The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power. It's an important TV milestone, an important TV series that's coming up, made by Amazon, made personally, I would say, by Jeff Bezos, who was personally involved in the negotiations. It is an enormous cost to make this series. It is the most expensive TV series that's ever been made in the whole of history. We're talking over $1 billion to make a TV series. Yes, I'm going to say that again. $1 billion to make this. This is something we should talk about because it's $1 billion and it's a TV show, which I find extraordinary. So what's it all about? Well, it's about Tolkien. It's about Lord of the Rings. It's about Tolkien. It's about one ring to rule them all and one ring to find them, one ring to bring them all and in the darkness bind them in the land of Mordor where the shadows lie. That is what it's about. So let's have a little look. That is the One Ring. But what we're talking about is the Rings of Power. So it's a series, a TV series, which is going to be based off. There's a phrase for you. Based off Tolkien's work, and this is the key issue. This is the key problem that's been caused, because the question is it going to be like the previous films, a very accurate and true to reality, or true to the author's intention, or is it going to be a reimagining and a positioning into a modern times for modern sensibilities? Well, either of those would be controversial, to be honest. So what have we got here? The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power. This is the Wikipedia article which talks about it. The Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power is an upcoming American fantasy TV series based on the novel Lord of the Rings, but it's based on the appendices by J.R.R. Tolkien. It's not based on the main book. It's been developed by showrunners this person and this person for Prime Video, and it's set thousands of years before The Hobbit, the film Hobbit, and The Lord of the Rings in the Second Age of Middle-earth. Don't worry about all that, that's a bit nerdy, but what we're talking about is it's going to be set a long time before The Hobbit book. Okay, so it's going to be produced by Amazon Studios with the Tolkien estate. They own the rights to the book, and with these people helping out. Amazon, you know them well, you've got some stuff from them probably last week. Amazon bought the television rights for The Lord of the Rings for $250 million. That's just for the television rights. That's not to make it, that's just to own the actual rights to make it. And they're going to make a 5-season production commitment worth at least $1 billion. This is going to make it the most expensive television series ever made. So that sounds great. Everyone's going to love it. It's going to be great. People love Lord of the Rings. It's going to be fantastic. Is that the actual situation that we find ourselves? If it was, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be here talking to you about it. So I'd be like, well, it's going to be great. So let's have a little look at what is going on. I know a lot of you are not Lord of the Rings fans. I am actually a Lord of the Rings fan. I used to really like the books, and I loved the films when they came out. But I know a huge amount of people are not, walking around with beards and carrying battle axes and talking about goblins all day, because, you're sensible people and you've got things to do. But I think this applies because, one, it's going to be massive. It's a $1 billion production, and it's by Amazon, and it's going to be all over the place. And it's interesting. So is it going to be something that the casual viewer, the non-crazy nerd person who's dressed up as Gandalf and walking around saying, "You shall not pass," is it going to appeal to the normal, everyday, sensible, sort of casual person? My answer to that is yes, it is. I think it really is. And I think that is a controversial opinion right there and then. So let's have a look, see what I'm talking about here. This is the trailer, the official trailer from Prime Video, and it's been watched 11,546,847 times. Whew, that's a lot of people. And let's have a look at the old ratio action going on here. 74,000 people like it and 369,000 don't. This is a major problem for a company that's thinking of spending $1 billion on something, when you've got a massive problem of people disliking it before it's even come out. And there's loads of reasons why they don't like it. And I would say a lot of them is because they are hardcore Tolkien fans and they don't like Tolkien being manipulated or changed around in any way, shape or form. What they want is literally straight out of the book, exactly that, nothing else. Just straight Tolkien, nothing else. That's what they want. And the production company is going down the old route of saying no, it's got to have modern sensibilities. We have to bring in these modern viewpoints to bring in our younger audience. We're spending $1 billion. We've got to have younger audience. We can't have just a load of old sort of hippies smoking their pipes and smelling the place up of patchouli, going on about Lord of the Rings and saying poems like "One ring to rule them all and in the darkness bind them." We've got to actually get the young people involved, and they don't care about the Lord of the Rings. So that seems to be what the problem is here. But I would say a second issue, apart from this ratio of like to dislike, which is bad enough, the problem here is sheer apathy. You've got 11 million people, 11.5 million people, and only 74,000 have bothered to press the like button. That's shocking. I did a quick bit of maths. 74,000 divided by 11.5 million multiplied by 100 to get a percentage. That is less than 1% of people watched this and bothered to press the like button. Now that's an issue right there and then, let alone the fact that people are concerned that it's not proper Tolkien and they think it's I don't know what they think it is, modern sort of lecturing or something. So yeah, major issue. This is the first trailer video that came out. Lots of views, very little likes, huge amount of dislikes, and you want to read some of the comments. Oh my god. Let's have some comments, shall we? They're saying it's changed so much. Imagine these nerds sitting at home, wearing their Gandalf hat with their Gandalf pipe, right? So this person's saying the part where Galadriel, she's the leader of Lothlorien. See, I do know some Tolkien stuff. Anyway, she screams, "This is Sparta!" It literally brought tears to my eye. Brilliant. This guy liked the bit where Jar Jar Banks said the prophets have betrayed us, and Sauron, it's Morbin time. Brilliant. And this is where Aragorn shouted, "Ask not for what your country can do for you. Ask for what you can do for your country." You see what they're saying? They're saying everything has changed so much that it's not Tolkien. That's the issue. They don't like it being manipulated and changed. There's some funny things. Palpatine's turned up. Brilliant. When Sauron said to Galadriel, "Great power comes with great rings. Great power comes with great responsibility." So yeah, you've got this issue where people think it's been morphed into something it's not, plus the issue that just people don't care, plus they think it's been changed all over the place. So the second video that came out a few days ago, let's have a look at that. 74 to 243, the same issue is going on. People are just not happy at all. The same sort of comments are going on. The part where Sauron says, "I'll be back." The part where Kylo Ren, he's turned up somehow, tells Sauron that his parents would know what is named Rocky Balboa. You see what, people are just laughing at the whole situation. But this is a multi-million, it's a $1 billion TV show that's coming out in a few weeks. So yeah, so what's going on? They're trying to do some damage mitigation, damage reduction. This is the Lord of the Rings. The Rings of Power showrunners. They must be absolutely terrified. They're spending so much money and all this negativity is happening. The Rings of Power showrunners address rumours that modern politics will influence the show. So now they're doing some I don't know what they're doing. They're saying it aspires to being timeless, right? Okay. So the Lord of the Rings comes loaded with expectations. Well, of course it does. Something the showrunners know to expect, considering the sheer popularity of the work. Well, it is, one of the most important books, probably in sort of fiction, in history. I can't think of many others that are on this scale. I'm trying to think of some. I mean, you're looking at Shakespeare and Chaucer, and it's that level of cultural reference. Perhaps even more so, but I think more people have read Tolkien than they've read Shakespeare. But I'm not saying Tolkien is Shakespeare. No, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying, culturally, they're very significant. So every single choice we've made at every turn of making this show has been to be faithful to that aspiration. So that's what they're trying to put fires out here, because that's what we want as viewers. They're trying to put themselves in the point of view of the viewer. They're trying to pretend they are the viewers when they're clearly not. They are the showrunners. You can't be both things. We don't want to adapt the material. Oh, see, these are fighting words. These are fighting words to Tolkien fans in a way that might feel dated. Oh, there's a conditional phrase there. We don't want to adapt it to make it feel dated. We're quite happy to adapt it. Oh, these are fighting talk. We aspire to being timeless. Oh, the hubris from these people. That's why these books still speak to people so much, because so much of what's in them has not aged a day. And then you came along, and people are walking around with what? They've got Heelys and they've got skateboards. Oh, what is going on? So I don't know. As a bit of a nerd myself, I'm a bit worried. But I was thinking to myself, what does the casual viewer think? So I asked a few people. I showed them the actual trailer, a few friends of mine, and I said, what do you think? And they were like, wow, that looks awesome. And I was like, aha, see? Non-crazy fans, and people like me who walk around with a Gandalf hat and a big Gandalf staff with a Gandalf pipe, is like sitting there going, it's not proper Tolkien. These casuals are thinking, well, this is great. This is a fantasy series. There's this going on. There's that going on. There's drama. There's pathos. There's romance. There's dragons, probably. There's rings, definitely. There's all sorts of good things. So for the casual, I think it's going to be a rip-roaring success. $1 billion. Whew, that's a big number. $1 billion. What do I think is $1 billion success? Oh, that's a worryingly large number. But yes, I do think it's going to be a huge success. I think real hardcore Tolkien fans are going to loathe it, absolutely loathe it, and they're going to say loads of nasty things about it. But I think a lot of normal people, like I was going to say like my good self, but but normal people like your good self are probably going to love it. So what else is going on? Lord of the Rings, see all these negative headlines all the time. Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power boss addresses controversy over Galadriel. A friend of mine was named Galadriel. Her parents named the child Galadriel. That's how much people like Tolkien. But for me, Galadriel can't look like this. She's what does Galadriel look like? She looks like that. That is Galadriel. Like, she's an ethereal, elven magic user, hardcore magic user. That's what she is. She's not a guy in a suit of armour with a sword. That's my personal opinion though, but for the normal person, they're going to be like, wow, she looks great, that armour's great, look at that, hello, with the thing, with the sword, with the hair, it's great. So I'm looking at it from a weird perspective, and I think a lot of people now see this. I was looking at why people are angry, and this guy puts it very succinctly. I think there's something like 2,000 words, but the principle here is appropriation, and that's the general principle. It's taking something, using it as your own, usually without permission. And there's two attitudes. There's the Peter Jackson attitude, which is we made a promise to ourselves. We weren't going to put any of our own politics or our own messages or any of our themes into the movies. Everyone loved the Lord of the Rings trilogy by Peter Jackson. Or, I say everyone loved, the nerds like myself loved it. So, there's that. And now this one, this is from the Lord of the Rings Rings of Power. They say it felt only natural to us, the hubris, that that's an adaptation of Tolkien's work would reflect what the world actually looks like. See, it's this dichotomy, it's the duality, it's these two perspectives. This is basically we are slaves to the actual source material, and this is we can do whatever we like because whatever, because it should reflect the world, what the world actually looks like. That's so confusing to me, because it's not this world. It's not London and New York and Tokyo. It's Middle Earth. It's the Lord of the Rings. It's got nothing to do with this place. So I'm looking at it as I mentioned. I'm looking at it from the nerd perspective, but I'm also trying to understand the casual, the normal, nice person on the street who doesn't dress up as Galadriel, doesn't walk around trying to be a hobbit with big feet, and wants to go and see this show. And are they going to appreciate it? Yes, they are. They're going to love it. It's going to be fantastic. PR disaster. Rings of Power looks awful. Even that's even that is like 44,000 people say it's going to be a disaster. This guy pretty much explains the same thing I'm saying. It's this feeling of appropriation, taking something that's not yours, mangling it, and giving it back. So that's all I've got for you today. I'm thinking to myself, it's going to be fantastic for the normal person. They're going to be loving life. It's coming out in September. It's going to be great, and all the nerds like myself are going to be crying and into our sort of beer at the Prancing Pony. See, that was a nerd joke, and and yeah. So leave a message in the old message box, whatever that's called, and press the old like button, the subscribe button. If you find any other buttons, do things with them, and I will catch you guys later. Obviously, probably in the land of Mordor, where the shadows lie. All right, bye bye.